Well, the PCB is back in the synth. I've connected up all the cables. I haven't bolted the board down yet, so it's just resting in there. The cables hold it fairly firmly, just for the first test. So, let's close this thing up. And I've got the wires ready over the back. So, output in there. Mains in there. I'll just try and get this into transpose mode while I flick the power on. I can't really use the tripod at this point because the table isn't deep enough, but I don't know if that's audible, so I'll turn the amp up a bit. 6 is silent, so we've lost a voice chip during this procedure. Totally silent. I'm going to get in trouble with it being up that loud with the baby asleep, so let's turn it down a bit. So, voice chip 6 has not survived the decasing. However, suddenly we have voice 6 back again. So, things are not quite as they seem. When this synth is cold, we have no voice chip 6. When it's warmed up a bit, a few minutes really, 30 seconds perhaps, voice chip 6 leaps into life, which the key there is warming up. The actual heat source is those chips themselves. They do run fairly warm, and obviously something on that chip when it's cold isn't making contact, and when it warms up a bit the metals expand and suddenly the break kind of joins up again. So clearly we've got a dry joint or bad joint on that board. Considering the build quality of these chips and some of the soldering, which is highly suspect, I'm not that surprised. What is surprising is that the chip that's failed isn't actually the one that I have concerns about. If I open this up again, put that out of the way so this will hinge back nicely. Chips are numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's the one at the other end which is causing the problems. The one I had my concerns about, which had the pins that lifted that I had to fix, I fitted at this end, just so I knew where it was. So obviously I need to take a closer look at chip number 6. So I'm going to have to take the board out and desolder that. Now, some people in the past have fitted sockets in these boards so they can drop these chips in and out. And the reason I haven't done that is twofold, really. Firstly, I have the desolder station, which means getting these things in and out is an absolute breeze. And secondly, I've done a lot of repair work with arcade boards, and the use of the dual wipe sockets causes so many issues. I mean, it works for maybe 5 to 10 years, everything's fine. And then eventually the contacts oxidize and you're left with a high resistance path. You can get heat related problems, but generally the contacts just fail. Now, the cure for that is reseating these chips, but to be honest, a solder joint is infinitely better. The only benefit of fitting a socket is the chips are easy to change, and with a desolder station they're easy to change anyway, so there's no real benefit for me anyway. And if these modules are soldered in, then the synth is going to be absolutely rock solid for, I don't know, another 25 years maybe, not sure. Well, it's going to be rock solid until the next thing dies, which, if the synth is well looked after and the power supply doesn't get any nasty shocks in its lifetime, could be decades left. If I fit sockets, then the likelihood is there will be problems in about 5 to 10 years. So, no sockets here, but I will have to desolder that module and take a closer look at the joints, because clearly something has not quite survived the decasing. I did have a quick look at these chips under a magnifying glass, and I couldn't see any bad joints, but now I know there definitely is one on there. I might be able to find something with a little bit more scrutiny. So that's the next step, to desolder that module.